Hello everyone, welcome back. We're here on CM42 TV and we have a movie vlog today. Something we've not done in a little while, but something we really need to get back to and doing more. And today we have an unboxing slash movie vlog, because what I'm going to do in this particular one is I'm going to watch my brand new Blu-ray that I have right here from Amazon. And then we're going to watch the Blu-ray, we're going to watch the movie, and I'll give you my initial reaction towards this. Now, I should make this clear, and you'll know what this is. This is Terminator 2. From the title, you know that it's Terminator 2. I don't need to keep the mystery up. But what I will say is that I would love it if you guys could check out my podcast about the first Terminator film. We have, if you don't know, we've started this brand new season on the Good Bit podcast, my movie podcast, where we're taking one film every single week, and we're going to chat about what the film means to us and how it was on this viewing, and if it's the first time we've seen it or if this is the second time we've seen it, and we do a whole podcast just on that film. So we've done a few episodes so far. The second season is going very well. I've been posting them every Friday, so stay tuned and keep up to date with all that stuff here on CM42 TV. I'm premiering them on the channel on the Friday too, as well as all the other podcasting outlets like Spotify and Apple and Pocket Cast and Google and all those things. So it's all on there. And we did an episode all about the first Terminator film. And I have never seen the second Terminator film. And that haunts people, that disgusts people. They can't believe that I've never seen the second Terminator film, because I've heard for years that Terminator 2 is the one. That's the best Terminator film. It's one of the best action films of all time. And I've just never seen it. We would have done it for the good bit straight after we did the first Terminator, but I've realised that Terminator 2 is not really available anywhere on many streaming services. We've only really got, the main ones: Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as if there's much else, and anything that's on there is all we can have access to. So I thought, okay, I'll get the Blu-ray. It's been on my radar for a long time. I may or may not have had incentive and persuasion from another YouTuber who may or may not also be doing 31 videos in March all about James Cameron. So I got a little bit of inspiration from him. And since I've never seen the film, I can watch it now, I can give my thoughts, and then I can watch his video on it. And there's Razor Wire Reviews, by the way. He's doing James Cameron month. So it's called Cameron King of the World, his series. He's doing all of James Cameron's back catalogue plus more throughout the month of March. Here we have it. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, I really like the first film. It's never going to be one of my favourites of all time. I don't know if it's a generational thing or not, but you can check out my podcast all about it. It's about 54 minutes or something all about the Terminator film. And now I'm buzzing to check out the second one. I did think there was some form of slipcover on this. It's always disappointing when that doesn't happen. But there was no indication that there would be. But the greatest action blockbuster of all time. Red flag straight away. They should never put those things in the back of the Blu-ray. I know they want to sell it, but now, if it's not the greatest action adventure or blockbuster of all time, I'm going to be disappointed. But I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it, because I like daft 80s action films, I like daft Arnie films. But yeah, Terminator 2, I'm going to watch this tonight, and I'll give you my initial reaction once I see it right here in this particular video. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, because it's time for Terminator 2. Alright, whoa, that was weird. Finally, it's a few days later, and again, finally, I can finally chop this name off the watch list. And that name, of course, is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's finally been watched. What's best to do is sit like this. There we go. The Blu-ray has been watched since the last clip. Can you believe it's a few days later? That's how technology works. And, when I was talking about the first Terminator film on the Good Bit podcast, I was sitting saying, it's like a good classic film, 80s, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's nothing over the top, but it's very kind of cheesy and very much of its time and stuff, very stylistic. Not one that I'm going to go back to anytime soon anyway, but I'll probably watch it again in my life. But what I mean is, it's not one that I'll immediately jump to. This one, however, is well more up my street, I must say. And I think as well on that podcast, one of the guests I had on, one of my former directors, Ian, said that the reason everyone probably talks about T2 more than the first Terminator is probably because they had a bit bigger budget. Yeah, times a million. Jesus, what a difference. And I was sitting saying to, actually was on the phone to Aaron today, my other co-host on the podcast, and I was saying I watched Terminator 2 and my god, the difference is crazy. Not that this is this amazing film and T1 isn't great. Terminator 1 is really good, and I thought, out of 80s films, classic films, you know, I really enjoyed it. You know, I gave it maybe a 7 out of 10, 6.5, 7 out of 10. Again, though, it is quite dated, I thought, and very much of its time. Whereas this one's well up in the 9 out of 10 territory, maybe even near a 10. And I can imagine, you know, the more times I watch T2, I will rate it higher, you know, and it'll probably go to the 10 out of 10 margin. I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd, you know, I think anyway. Because I was thinking, you know, subjectively, in terms of action films, action sequels for one thing, but in terms of like thrillers, great films, blockbusters, wall-to-wall action, fun, adventure, can't stop watching, Terminator 2 has it all. You know what I mean? Now I understand. That was always one of those things that confused me. Why is The Godfather 2 always talked about more than the first Godfather? Why do people love Empire Strikes Back more than A New Hope? Why do people prefer Aliens to Alien? I always was like, well, surely the original's better, you know? And I guess the same goes for Terminator. It's always like Terminator 2 is so much better than Terminator 1. Now that I've seen both of these, I'm like, yeah, Terminator 2 is so much better than Terminator 1. I'm not just saying that because that's what everybody else says. Just in terms of the budget, right, that's the main thing I noticed anyway. In terms of the way the film is made, the way it's shot, not to, you know, be a cliche here, but the explosions itself, you know, the essence of a great sort of cheesy action film, over-the-top action film, especially of this time. This is early 90s now, but are these like over-the-top explosions and stuff like that? I think about things like Die Hard and things like that, where the story's so great and the characters are so great, and then you get these amazing explosions with a big budget and it just adds to it. I thought the exact same for T2. You know, there's some good explosions and stuff. I'm not trying to judge these films on explosions alone. What I'm meaning is the way they look, the effects of them, you know, the budget they were working with. And the first film are fine, you know, and I actually said that on the podcast. I was like, you see films from around that time in the mid-80s with, you know, explosions and big moments like that, and, you know, buildings blowing up and car chases and things that don't look as good as they do in Terminator 1. Whereas this is a total other level, you know, not just the end scene, but just in terms of like the car chases, as I said, the motorbike stuff, and the fact the story is just a bit better rounded as well in this film. The fact that Arnie is back to protect, you know, Sarah Connor's son, you know, John Connor. It's just more interesting, you know, than the first one, about like, oh, scary Arnie coming to kill you. You know, like, as the first film, fine, easy to watch. But this one just has a different sort of layer to it. It's a bit more interesting. You kind of you don't expect to root for the Terminator, but you kind of do in this film against the other Terminator itself, you know. And I watched the special features on this one. I also watched the special extended edition of this film, which apparently was the wrong way to go about things. You know, my mate Luke on Razor Wire Review said that what I should have done is just watch the special edition. And when I was looking at it, I was like, well, there's only like 6 minutes difference, you know what I mean? What difference is it going to make? I should watch the extended one. But it turns out some of those 6 minutes is the ending. And in the special extended edition, you see like the future, you see Sarah Connor older, doing the journal thing, like speaking into her or whatever. As you hear throughout the film, you know, the narration sort of thing. And apparently in the special edition, maybe even just the original edition, it was cut, and it's just this nice sort of fade away, a clip of a road with that voiceover, and that's it. Very, you know, leave it up to the imagination, leave you to have your own opinions on it and stuff. And apparently that works even better. So next time I watch Terminator, I'll watch it that version. But even that ending with older Sarah Connor didn't bother me in the slightest. What I'm really itching to do now though is watch the commentary, because there's a James Cameron commentary on there that I kind of want to watch. And I've got a feeling that I'll do that this week. I mean, I'm just looking at the back here in terms of other stuff. I watched the Reprogramming the Terminator documentary, which was the brand new one, I believe. Yeah, that was posted on this particular release, or at least recent anyway, 2017 maybe. And also there is the Making of T2 documentary that came out in 1993, which was actually really good too. And there's something about those old school documentaries that got a lot of charm to them. I think it's because it was like the only access we had back then. I say we, I wasn't alive then, but the only access people had to behind the scenes stuff were these DVD extras or things maybe they caught on TV somewhere, and it was like just revealing some behind the scenes stuff. It wasn't this over the top, you know, so much detail. I mean, we're spoiled these days, we really are, in terms of the amount of behind the scenes stuff. You're getting series on Disney Plus dedicated to behind the scenes clips and footage and interviews and stuff. But you know, even just that, you know, new documentary on this one is so much stuff. The 1993 one almost has a bit more heart to it because it's only a little bit revealed, you know. And I don't know, I really liked it. I love the ending of the Terminator, Arnie's Terminator, sort of lowering himself down into the lava, and I just thought that was really good. I mean, Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton's performance in this is so much better. I hate saying better because it's like they're different, aren't they? But so much better than this than in the first one, you know. She's so much better. She's just, I don't know. Probably because she had a bit more freedom with it as well. And she wanted to be a bit nuts. You know, in the first one, she's just kind of like innocent chick that gets chased by the evil villain, which happens to be a robot. Whereas, you know, this one, she's a bit more crazy and has a point to prove. And I just thought that was really interesting. So Terminator 2 is, I can confirm, so much better than the first one by a landslide. And when this is put on some form of streaming service, we will chat about Terminator 2 on the Good Bit podcast, a follow-up to our first one. But I have seen it. I've bought the Blu-ray. It's now proudly in the Blu-ray collection. And I will this week watch the commentary with James Cameron, and I'm looking forward to that. So if I have any other thoughts on that, it'll either be at the end of this video, or I'll post them on Twitter at CM42TV, maybe even Instagram if I'm feeling exciting, at CM42TV on there as well. But thank you for watching. Go check out Terminator 2 and let me know in the comments which one you prefer. I will watch Terminator Genesis at some point. I don't know if I want to though, because this one is so good. But I guess I'll check out the commentary. I'll see where that lands me, and I'll see all of you in the next video.